So last week we told you about the train carrying chemicals that derailed in a small town in East Palestine, Ohio. The situation has gotten much worse. This was the control release from last week. I mean, it doesn't even look like you're in East Palestine, Ohio. The people who lived there, their lives were totally turned upside down. The control release released chemicals into the air to prevent a catastrophic explosion. I mean, look at that. Can you imagine being anywhere near that and the lack of air quality that you now have and not totally knowing what you're seeing and what kind of chemicals are going up in the air? I mean, you're going about your business thinking it's gonna be a regular day only to be disrupted, and I mean totally disrupted by a train derailment. The company that owns the train is Norfolk Southern, and it claims that it's not a public health risk. Don't trust them. Don't believe them at all. We know that this is a public health risk. They were too quick to say that it wasn't. There is no way in heaven or hell that this could not be a public health risk. Yeah, believe your lying eyes. When you see all of that stuff going up in flames, believe it. It is a public health risk. And same with Governor Mike DeWine here in my home state, which we expressed in this tweet. This is what he said. East Palestine residents are able to return to their homes. Really, Governor? Really? You should be going ham on Norfolk Southern on behalf of your constituents. That's what you should be doing. But you telling them, oh, just skip to your loo. Skip to my loo, my darling. Just gonna skip on back home. Everything's all right, nothing to see here. Not right. But many don't want to go back because of the chemicals in the air. Could anybody not? Could you? Everybody understands why they don't want to go back home. Let's take a look at this tweet. There have been numerous reports of dead animals all over Ohio. The Norfolk Southern train derailment is a major ecological disaster, and people need to be criminally charged with this kind of gross negligence, or it's doomed to repeat itself. Hello, somebody on that 50 Shades of We got that right, and that's why the governor should be outraged. He should be in conversations with the president and that person who's the Secretary of Transportation, saying, hello, somebody, get down here right away and get my people some help. This is a shame. Now, many lacking viable alternatives due to their limited resources and incomes have done just that, right? They had to go home. Despite lingering fears of the impact that the train crash and subsequent unleashing of toxic gases into the atmosphere may have had on their towns, some have reported strong chemical odors and unsettling sights, such as a steam blackened by substances released from the train and dead fish. Thank you, Jack Johnson of Common Dreams. This is an issue of classism. Plain and simple. What would the response be if this was a wealthy town? It wouldn't be this cavalier attitude. If there were toxic chemicals being released in a wealthy suburban area, there would be outrage. Well, guess what? I'm outraged for the people of East Palestine. I'm outraged for them. We're outraged here on Unbossed. And there's some other folks that are outraged for them as well. The silence is inexcusable. One resident stated the following: I don't want to take my kids back to that. None of us have the money to completely start over somewhere. We're not going to have a choice but to take our children back to that place, and it's not fair. And Yasmin, she is exactly right. This is not fair.
Yeah, this story hits so close to home for me, and I feel like I know the helplessness that I'm sure the people in Ohio are feeling. It's the helplessness of knowing that chemicals are leaking and burning all around you, and there's nothing that you can do about it, and you know that they're not gonna do anything about it either. So many of these disasters happen, and all we hear from our leaders is, it's fine, you're fine, just live your lives, it's all fine. But the reality is that it's not. It's not okay to have a plume of black smoke over your city. It's not normal. It's not okay, no matter how much they try to normalize the smell of gas and carcinogens in the air, no matter how much they tell you that the water is supposed to have like an oily sheen over the top of it, or no matter how much they tell you that it's okay to eat crops that were grown in fields near leaking pipelines. I live in Houston, and there is a lot of oil and gas activity here. And every time something wonky happens, you hear a lot of finger pointing from the city and county officials, but ultimately nothing is done to prevent those accidents from happening again in the future.
Yeah, it's not okay at all. Just just total indifference to other people's suffering. And this last tweet we want to put up here, Norfolk Southern has offered a mere $25,000 donation to help affected residents. Morgan Harper had this to say in her tweet: Norfolk Southern has made a $25,000 donation after their toxic train derailment in East Palestine, Ohio. They're worth $55 billion. They want this to go away, and we cannot let them get away with it. Amen to that. We cannot let them get away with this. America, I want you to be outraged about this. Ohioans first, we need to be outraged about this and come to the rescue of our sisters and brothers and family and friends in East Palestine, Ohio.